All right. Welcome back. Had a little technical difficulties. Let's start off all over again. My name is John Maniatis. This is the DePaud, a DePaul Hoops podcast brought to you by Under the L. Go check out underthel.org today. Go get your tickets for Under the L Blue Red scrimmage tomorrow night at McGrath Phillips Arena at 7 o'clock. Those tickets are $25 with your subscription to Under the L. So let's jump right into what we're going to talk about today. Let's start the show, Blue Demon Nation.
Got a McAdoo look to his shot.
Spins, fade away. Yes, sirree! Chandler hits the three.
Oh, tough shot. Giving it up to Reed.
Welcome into the DePaud, a DePaul Hoops podcast brought to you by Under the L. Go check out underthel.org today and sign up to become one of the members of the Under the L NIL Collective, the NIL Collective for your DePaul Blue Demons, aimed at bringing business services and financial coaching to DePaul student athletes in all sports. Go check out Under the L today. Get on board right now. The train's leaving the station. On today's episode, we talked the Blue-Red scrimmage that is brought to you by Under the L. We've got the rosters, and we've got some expectations that we want to see from the Blue-Red scrimmage tomorrow. And then we'll talk to you about Mark Aguirre starting his new role as the special assistant to the athletic director, Dwayne Peavy. So let's first jump into one partner that we have too on top of Under the L. We have Home Field Apparel. Go check out homefieldapparel.com today. You could go get 15% off by using promo code DePaud. And you can gear up for the season with some of the highest quality T-shirts and sweatshirts from Home Field Apparel. I haven't gotten my order yet, but I just placed an order the other day. So once I get that, I can't wait to share that with you guys. We'll definitely be talking a little bit more about them as we move on. First things first, let's talk Blue-Red scrimmage. I released the two teams earlier today. We talked about it a little bit ago when before I had those technical difficulties. But Jalen Terry, KT Ramey, Elijah Fisher, Keandre Young, Mo Solin, Deshaun Nelson going up against Caleb Murphy, Jaden Henley, Chico Carter Jr., Jeremiah Oden, Laji Kamara, and Churchill Bass. Two teams very, very much different from each other. I think that the blue team might have a little bit aside from Chico Carter Jr., of course, but I think blue team might have the 3-point perimeter shooting a little bit better than the red team, but we'll see. I mean, both teams are going to be very athletic. I think that's one hallmark of this current roster is the athleticism is going to be off the charts. Lots of high flying dunks. I would assume it's a scrimmage. First time seeing the team together this year. So I think that they're ready to show out a little bit and have a little bit of fun tomorrow. But yeah, I think getting into it and being able to see the team for the first time, it'll be a lot of fun. A lot of old faces that are going to be there on top of the current players, but it's going to be a good night. I think that getting out and having them play at a game speed and actually out in the public and showing us what they can do, it's going to be a lot of fun. So Mark Aguirre is going to be there, Bobby Simmons, Tommy Kleinschmidt, who, bringing up Tommy Kleinschmidt, let's jump into real quick a little bit of throwback from one of his most memorable moments that the Big East Vault played or shared earlier today on their Twitter. So shout out to them. But let's just toss it to that for a minute here.
By 3. Triple threat position. Tommy Kleinschmidt over Tick Rogers and the foul. Louisville is stunned. DePaul is on fire. Kleinschmidt would hit the free throw for a 4-point play. DePaul up 1. Last chance for the Cards. Tick Rogers open. Dewan Wheat doesn't see him. Launches no. DePaul wins. Kleinschmidt, a game-high 30 points. Louisville 500 in the Metro and dipped to 15-12 overall.
Just one of those iconic moments in DePaul basketball history. They're playing Louisville this year at Wintrust, so really cool to be able to throw back to that and see that kind of highlight. I know a lot of people have a lot of fond memories over at Allstate, but obviously this year I think we're gonna have some good opportunity to make some new memories, especially playing Louisville. But it all starts tomorrow. The Blue-Red scrimmage. They had their, we had the Blue Madness last week for the students. This is another, kickoff fun event to start the basketball season. I really want to see the newcomers, Chico Carter Jr., see him in some sort of game speed. Obviously, it's a scrimmage. Like, you got to keep that in mind. Don't blow everything out of proportion. Someone has a good game, someone has a bad game, kind of just leave it as like, you got to walk out of there. There's going to be overreaction. There's always overreaction. Some Georgetown player had like 46 points and people were falling at his feet, acting like he was the next, the second coming. But I want to see Caleb Murphy. He had his wrist injuries last year, marred with injuries last year. Turn the page on that. He had some outstanding performances. Obviously, that Xavier game was a great time to see him for the first time in a Blue Demon uniform. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the team kind of comes together tomorrow. Should be really exciting. Deshaun coming off his minor foot injury. I don't even know if they're going to if they're calling it a foot injury, just a precautionary boot on the foot at Blue Madness that causes a little bit of a stir. But I talked to Deshaun the other day. He said, make sure you all come out. Obviously, like, we want you all there, and that he's back. So it'll be good to see him flying through the gym like he always does. And really exciting stuff tomorrow. I can't wait to see you guys. It's going to be a fun night. With that said, let's talk about Mark Aguirre coming back as the special assistant to the athletic director, Dwayne Peavy, working on different projects. It was really cool to see some of the different responses to that. Obviously the biggest one, of course, was Irving Magic Johnson coming out and sharing his. Let's pull that tweet up here. He said, "I want to congratulate my good friend, former NBA champion and All-Star Mark Aguirre for being named Special Assistant to Athletic Director Dwayne Peavy. There's no one who loves DePaul University more than Mark, and he's been dreaming about this opportunity to return to DePaul for over 15 years. Thank you, President Manuel. Thank you, Athletic Director Dwayne Peavy. You could not have chosen a better man and person than my great friend, Mark Aguirre." I had talked to Mark a little while ago. I don't know. It was probably a couple months ago at this point. And we were talking about the show. We were talking a little bit about a couple other things. And he said that, when he wants to come back, this was before this, I think, was even happening. It might have been in the works already, probably. But he said, "I want people to start talking about DePaul athletics a lot more, DePaul basketball." He asked me why I was doing the show. And I think this is the kind of thing that he was alluding to, having some of these old hoopers who have a fond memory of DePaul, who have a fond memory of teams that Mark played on. And, obviously too, like Tom Kleinschmidt. DePaul was a big deal in the basketball community back in the day. In my opinion, they still should be. But I think that's the kind of thing that he was talking about, and this is stuff that Dwayne talks about too all the time, is getting the name out there again, putting it out there, because so many people have so many memories of DePaul basketball, positive memories of DePaul basketball. And all it takes is one. I mean, Magic Johnson, over 230 views of that post on Twitter. And it's got people talking. It's got a lot of shares, a lot of quote tweets and things like that. So I think that that kind of thing is going to be one of those positive uh, messages that are out there about DePaul basketball. Now, I mean, it's still, I mean, we talk about it all the time in some private conversations and on spaces and things like that. Winning solves everything. You got to win too. So at the end of the day, this is all great. This is all fun, but the product on the court matters as well. So we got to see it. And I think that like this team has that higher, there's a ceiling there, right? And the ceiling's, I think, a little bit higher than a lot of people let on. I think that, you've got a lot of unknowns, of course, a lot of guys who didn't quite like live up to their expectations out of high school. But I think that, second chances in basketball, especially, could be like a really good motivator. And I think a lot of these guys are cut from that cloth that, they want to do well. And I think that they're going to be a lot better than I think a lot of people are talking about. A lot of people are having, have DePaul, bottom tier, 11, 10, somewhere in there. And, it's going to be like that. It's going to be like that until they prove otherwise. And I think that you really got to, you're going to change the narrative. This team has to come out and change the narrative from the gate, from the outset. You're going to have I think you're always going to have your bumps in the road, but from the outset, you've got to come out and show that you've got that fight in you. You've got that, that dog in you, as they say, and punch some people in the mouth. DePaul's got the fourth toughest non-conference schedule across the board in the Big East. And if they prove themselves through that, and then come out in the Big East in conference play, get a couple of wins where they're not going to be expected to. You beat a Villanova here, maybe a Xavier, catch them on an off night, and you'll be getting those legitimate Rank DePaul trending hashtags like we did when they beat Texas Tech back in 2019. So yeah, you gotta punch people in the mouth. You gotta come out, show people that you're not gonna lay down. You're gonna be better than what everyone's expectation in the preseason was, and really take it to the next level. I think Coach Stubblefield, I'm gonna be talking to him probably tomorrow, and I'm gonna ask him what his temperature of the team is and where he thinks things are at. And I want to see fight from him too. And not that we didn't see it last year, because we did. We saw it in the Big East tournament. We saw it towards the end of the year. I mean, obviously he was fighting throughout the year as well, but I think it was more visible. You saw it. You saw a lot more fight in him towards the end of the year, I think. And but maybe that was because this, speculation, of course, but maybe that was because they had all the injuries, right? Like you have fight, you're fighting, you're pushing that rock uphill, but you feel like you're going against something that's immovable, right? So maybe that's why they were a little bit more healthy at the end of the year last year, and were able to fight through that first round win at the Big East tournament. Almost beat Xavier for a second time in the second round. So yeah, I think that's Coach Stubbs. He's a great fighter, and he's going to be a good fighter, I think, for this team. And I think that you're going to see that out the gate. You got to go out and take care of business against the Purdue Fort Waynes of the world. Purdue Fort Wayne, and then of course Chicago State, and Louisville. Louisville looked terrible against Simmons College. Well, not terrible. They still won, but like they didn't win like they should have won. They could have easily put up like 160 against that team, and they didn't. So you got to go out, take care of business against the teams that you need to. The Kenny Payne looks just beat down. Take advantage of that. You got to go and take Northwestern, and God forbid, God forbid, anything like last year's Northwestern game, which, I don't even want to talk about that, but you got to go out and beat Northwestern. You got to, everyone jokes and actually not jokes, but takes it seriously that Evanston isn't Chicago. You've got to go and beat Northwestern at Wintrust in your home stadium, and then move on from there. I think beating Northwestern and Louisville, those will be. I think those are in my opinion, obviously I'm not in the locker room, but in my opinion, from a fan base perspective, you win those 2 games on top of the other ones that you should be winning. That's going to be a good precursor, litmus test for how the fan base is doing. You beat those two teams, Northwestern and Louisville, and I think going into the Big East play, you'll have a little bit more leash, I guess, so to speak, and then take on Villanova. UConn is UConn. Not saying that, not giving them a win from the outset, but because you have to play those games. But UConn's going to be tough this year. I think Villanova is going to be better than last year, but I don't think they're nearly as, in my opinion, I don't think they're nearly as good as what a lot of pundits are saying. So go beat the Butlers, the Seton Halls, the Georgetowns, because Georgetown is not as good as, everyone's giving Ed Cooley. Everyone's looking at Ed Cooley like he's good. He's a great coach. Don't get me wrong, but everyone's looking at him and expecting him to turn that team into I don't want to say NCAA tournament team, but there's some people out there that are talking like he's going to turn that team into an immediate NCAA tournament team, and he didn't turn that roster over nearly enough as what he should have. So I think Georgetown's going to be beatable. I think if you take one from Georgetown, split with Georgetown, beat Butler twice, and beat Seton Hall twice, those are the ones that you have to win, right? And then you steal a couple here and there. Xavier, they've got a lot of new faces too, especially with Fremantle's injury and Jerome Hunter's injury. And then on top of that too, so you steal one from them, you steal one from maybe Villanova, and you've got a good shot to make some noise in the Big East. But you got to win. First things first is you got to win, and I really think that this team is going to have a lot more fight in them than a lot of people are letting on, or that a lot of people are giving this team credit for. That's just from talking to a few folks within the athletic department. So go out, win those games that you're supposed to win. Purdue, Fort Wayne, I mean, just annihilate them, destroy. Don't let off the gas at any point in time. Chicago State, bury them, because you got to bury Chicago State. They're 352 out of 352. However many teams there are in Division I basketball, bury them. Purdue, Fort Wayne, they're in the Horizon League, bury them. I think that's what you got to show, that killer mentality. You got to show that you know how to win. At the end of the day, I know Coach Stubblefield knows how to win. He did it for a long time with Dana Altman. You just got to get that out to the guys, and I think, I don't know how much Laji's gonna, Kamara is gonna contribute his first year, but I think that, he won at, his level. I think all these guys have won at some point in their lives, or some point in their basketball careers, I should say. They know how to win. Just channel that into this team and go out there and beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. What else? Let's think. Let's talk about the women's basketball team. Went out and played Iowa. A lot of great photos, a lot of great views from that game. Just unreal. 55,000 people in that stadium, over at Kinnick Stadium. And I have a bone to pick with some of the national commentators that were posting after, saying Iowa broke the record, Iowa broke the record, and credit to them for bringing it together. But I think too, like, a lot of folks just mentioned Iowa. They didn't, two teams had to come and play that game, and yeah, sure, absolutely, they were all there to see Iowa, aside from however many fans from DePaul came. But you gotta give some sort of give them some sort of credit here, and then say DePaul versus Iowa. And I think I take exception to it because there's a lot of we've got a chip on our shoulder as a fan base, right? Like, in my opinion, that because DePaul has been where it's been as far as men's basketball goes, and the women's basketball team has been a very perennial tournament team for a long time, except for the past couple of years, and it's a Chicago market. You gotta like give DePaul women's basketball coach Bruno some sort of shine for that. He's a great. I mean, I know in the women's basketball and collegiate athletics communities, he gets a lot of respect. The DePaul women's team gets a lot of respect, but it just seemed like a lot of those national accounts that posted on it just completely had some sort of DePaul erasure and didn't talk about it, DePaul even being in the game, almost like Iowa had just scrimmaged themselves. So congrats to Coach Bruno. Congrats to everyone involved. I looked like a cool time. Really cool to see the wave to the Children's Hospital. Really cool that they raised so much money for that cause. So hopefully DePaul can get into some of those events more. It was really cool to see on Big Ten Network and see the women's team play in front of 55,000 people. Just unreal, really cool experience to see just from sitting, at home watching it. But yeah, with that said, go out tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow at McGrath Phillips Arena. Can't wait. It's going to be a great night. Gonna see the men's team play each other. Go get your tickets at underthel.org today, and we'll see you all tomorrow.